Henry here, and this is my husband, Todd. I think he's a little nervous, so be nice. I need to figure out how I can see, how can I figure out how I can see? I'm using my husband's phone. Oh, tap to see who's watching. How do I tap to see who's watching?
It says right there.
Where?
Live viewers.
Where?
Whitney Madsen.
You'll see here. Oh,
and Jessica Danielle.
Awesome. Love
hey,
it.
Whitney. Hey, Cody.
Hi, guys. So I think Todd's a little nervous, so let's be nice.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited because he actually volunteered. Well, I kind of asked him, and then he volunteered and said he would.
I woke up to a text this morning. It said no. Okay,
no,
whatever. Anyway.
That's not how it worked. But, well, actually, I asked him if I'd do it, and then this morning I said, oh, by the way, we're doing it today.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. So, anyways, today what we're going to talk about is the male's perspective on pretty much everything. Anything you guys asked about, anything that you're wondering about what a male's perspective is on a guy that kind of gets our vibe. He grew up with four women.
Yeah.
Four women. His dad worked out of town a lot, so he's kind of always understood women. But the problem... What?
Nothing, go ahead.
He has no idea what he's getting into. I didn't prep him for anything. We didn't plan anything. Even in the car, I said, we should probably plan something. But then I'm like, no, because then you're going to overthink it. So the only rule I gave him is be 100% real. And that's about it. And he hates the light, so he'll probably squint. He's the type that literally puts on sunglasses inside. So as people start joining on, we will probably start sweating because this light is a bit hot.
It's getting hot in here, yeah.
It's going to get hot in here. So, anyways, I forgot to... Cody, quit texting. Quit texting. I got to figure out how to do the do not disturb on here, or else that's going to drive me nuts. How do you do the...
Just leave it.
Do not disturb?
I don't know.
I don't know either, so we'll have to deal with it. Cody, quit texting.
Yeah, Cody, quit texting.
Okay.
Cody, quit texting.
Anyways, so I'm going to start by just saying that our relationship has not always been perfect, but I would say it's pretty close to perfect now just because we know it's normal to fight, and we know how to fight, and we know how to get over fights, and we know how to compromise when each other wants something like a $90,000 semi-truck. And so we kind of get each other, and so I want you guys to be able to comment below. Can somebody type and say, hey, just so I can try to, I'm on my husband's phone, and I've never done a live on his phone, so I'm trying to figure this out, but I just can't figure out how to see you guys if you're talking or not. Swipe left.
Reveal. Yep.
So maybe nobody's commented yet. I don't know. So as you guys have questions, type them below, but say hi so I can see if it's actually working. But what I'm going to do is pull up your guys' questions from earlier. But you can kind of explain who you are, what you do, and how awesome I am.
Yeah. Okay, my name's Todd Henry. I have known Nicole for quite a long time. We got together in the 9th grade. We've been together forever, seems like. I own a semi-truck. I am a dirty trucker, and I love every part of it. I love the lifestyle. It's just awesome. I get to go up and down the road and do what I want all day. Anyway,
explain our relationship.
What about it?
Anything that you think that you should tell them.
We have had our rocky moments, just like everybody else. I've had a bag packed more than once and ready to leave the house. Seriously, we were to that point where I was just done. I've had enough of her crap, and that's how I say it. You guys might want to get used to my language because that's how it's going to be. But
warned them.
I've had enough of her crap more times than not, and I've packed a bag and said, "See you later." Somehow I kept coming back. I guess she had my heart. I don't know what it was.
And what do you feel like changed?
I found myself. I found gratitude in myself. I think that's the problem with a lot of people these days is they take stuff way too serious. Like, if you guys know me from where I am now to where I used to be, like, I'm night and day different. I used to worry about everything. Now I could give two craps less about what anybody thinks. Like, I don't care. You could write me anything, and I just don't care. I'll blow you off. Like, not. You know what I mean? I don't care. I've come a long way in that, and I don't know, like.
And I would say we came from this lifestyle that it was a lot lot of partying.
Yeah,
A lot of
we
partying.
had a lot of good times. A lot of good times.
A lot of good times that turned into a lot of bad times.
Mhm.
And I would say our turning point mostly was probably Tab.
Yep.
Because after his health relationship, or after his health issues, we literally did not know how to be in a relationship again. Because I would say we've always been super infatuated with each other and super in love and like that perfect couple. But then we had children and we had no idea. It was a rude awakening, especially when you have a child that has health issues and then you have to go back to living and figuring out how to get along when you've been living in crisis mode for so long. And so I would say that was kind of the turning point, as we did marriage counseling. That was kind of a waste of time.
Yeah, it was. We went a few times and I just wasn't going back. The lady was a little weird, but she tried her best.
She was actually very, very nice. It's just we didn't want to dig into our problems for a year, and we saw it was going to be like this 10-year process. So we actually went to a weekend marriage seminar called Royalty and Romance, and I would say that's probably what saved our marriage. And it's what saved our financial situation too, because that's when we actually started to become very weird.
Yep.
And Todd actually dealt with a lot of people, and he still does. He deals with people that makes fun of him all the time, makes fun of who his wife is, makes fun of all this kooky stuff. Like, for real though.
Yeah, it's true.
Like people always make fun of me. They always make fun of him. But we just don't care, because we look at ourselves and call us cocky or not, but we see where other people are, and we're like, we're happy. We're making money. We're successful. We have dreams. We're healthy.
We have Jesus.
He'll probably talk about Jesus a lot. He would consider himself a Bible-thumping Christian.
Yes, he
so, but that being said, like, on a not spiritual level too, like, we found our higher power, you know, whatever that is, Jesus, God, your higher self, the universe, whatever it may be. And that's kind of what shifted our whole life around. And so, Cody, I can't concentrate if you're going to keep
We're
texting.
going to block you, Cody.
I'm going to block you. So I want to go through and start answering some questions, because I'm sure Cody's not the only male in here too. And so I'm sure a lot of your husbands are watching. And so if they have questions, please post below. But I want to start with Margaret's first question. And like I said, I did not coach him to say anything. I said, just be real. And I should put my foot in my mouth for that one. But just be real. Just be honest. Just answer it as you think. But know that we didn't come from a perfect relationship. Our relationship is not 100% perfect now.
Nope.
And I will try, because I still have control issues, but I'll try not to control the conversation and just let him talk. Oh yes, Margaret, I'm getting to your question right now. Did Todd ever giggle at some of the things you were teaching in the beginning, and when did he transition to coming on board? From a quiet supporter to a more convicted, from first-hand success supporter?
Yeah, I was that husband that was like, what in the hell are you doing? Like, this isn't how you're supposed to live your life. Like, what is this cuckoo garbage that you're teaching? And why am I going to all these classes? It was a wild ride. And I'm here to tell you, like, it was the coolest thing ever. Like, watching her help people, watching her help our son, that's when it all started for me. Like, she just grabbed something and ran with it, and that's when I jumped on board. The thing about it is I can't live my life controlling what she's doing. Like, we're all here for a short time, and I figured this out over a few years. It's like, she's going to do what she's going to want to do, and I can't control it. You know what I mean? It's her own life. I don't care. She has her stuff. I have my stuff, and that's what I've decided. You know, I can only support her, and when I support her in what she wants to do, she soars. If I was to keep bringing her down, it's going to affect both of us, and I don't want to come home to a wife that's always mad and pissed off and down because she can't get her dreams. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense to me, so that's why I'm just like, cheerleader, do it. Do what you want to do. It's awesome.
And you want to know what's funny is I don't even think he really knows what I do. The other day, I was like reading his face, and I was like telling him what was going on with his face. He's like, you read faces? Like, he barely understands now that I actually work with children and read poop and read faces, let alone with the mentoring stuff. He really probably had no idea what this group was. So he kind of just like lets me do my thing. Do you have a personal individual success from something she teaches? Okay. So do you have personal success from anything that I teach? He doesn't really know what I teach, but for instance, like vision boards, black journaling.
Oh yeah, I've been there with her from the beginning. Like, there's a lot of stuff that she teaches that I kind of learned about along the way too. And I can tell you right now, like the vision boards, the money, stuff like that. Like, obviously, if I didn't run with what she taught, I wouldn't be on the same level as her, if that makes sense.
So talk a little bit about how your experience getting your success with the semi-truck, how that came about with the tools that you know.
I'm a big fan of like creating stuff in my head. I can bring, you guys might think I'm full of crap here, but I can think of something and bring it to me in my head. It's the most bizarre thing on the planet. For example, I needed a strap winder the other day. It's a trucker thing. I have straps. I needed to wind them up. And I thought to myself, what's the worst part of my job? And it's rolling up 12 straps every night. And I'm like, man, I need to go buy another strap winder. Not even kidding you. I was unloading logs the other morning. This dude brought me a strap winder. He's like, here you go, man. I saw you rolling up your straps. I bought like 12 of these on eBay. Here you go. I was like, well, that was cool. Now I've expected it. I wasn't even like surprised. I was like, oh, created that. Like, no big deal. You know what I mean? So in that sense, it's the same with the truck thing. Like, it fell in my lap. I jumped on it and I went for it, and it's been working awesome. Like,
well, and then we moved to Vegas, and we decided the money wasn't worth it, and so then we moved back home, and he created the exact same thing. I will tell you, when men actually use these tools, they don't even have to. His vision board's probably the same vision board like 12 years ago. Not really, like 4 years ago. It's the same stuff on there. It still says earn $5,000 per week, and he's way sold that. It's like, you know, he has all these things that it's like now his vision board's just in his head because he's trained his mind so well.
It's true. It's pretty wild. Like, I can
create
create anything. It took me a year to get back to where I wanted to be up here as far as trucking. And on that same note, when I went to Vegas, in my brain, I was creating this job, and it kind of fell into my lap, you know, talking to a few guys, and it just kind of came to me. It's the same with this thing. It fell right into my lap. The trick is you've got to learn to act on it. I used to be this guy that even still stuff will come to me and I won't act on it, and I'm like, crap, that was a sign. I should have went with it, but I never do, you know, unless I notice it. But
like literally, sorry I'm interrupting, but literally this guy called him and said, hey, I know you did this before. Someone's selling their truck and 2 trailers. Do you want it? And he was like shaking in his pants.
I came home, I ran the numbers and was like, oh, this might be a good idea, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, whoa, you know, but the trick is you just got to act on it. Even if you fail, even if it's something that comes to you and you fail at it, like, you're not going to know until you try it. It's crazy.
And this comes from a man that I couldn't even get to go to Salt Lake, which is like an hour away. He's not a people person. He didn't want to ever move away. Like, such a homebody. Like, this is not the guy I met. I'm going to get back to some of these questions, but I want to make sure I answer the questions that were first posted. How do you financially invest in growing your business when the amount freaks your spouse out?
I think Nikki is actually worse at that one than me. I think the amounts that she comes up with is what freaks me out. I don't think my stuff freaks her out very much. It goes back to just trusting it. Like, you guys, it's crazy. You're on this planet for a short time. Try something. Even if it freaks them out, you got to explain it to them in a way like, look, I'm going to try this. I don't know. It's just hard to open your mind, like, to where I am or where we're at, to be like, it's not a big deal. You're not going to die. You know what I mean? It's just money. It's a tool. You don't get too caught up in it. Obviously, I know there's people out there that really need it and they're struggling, and obviously, you know, we're like that too. We're not millionaires, you know what I mean? We still have bills. We still have to buy dog food and toilet paper. It's the same. We're just like you guys. But I would say a spouse that's freaking out over the amount, you just got to meet them in the middle somewhere and say, look, this is something that I really want to do. It might work, it might not, but don't let money rule you, because it'll kill you. It'll slowly just kill you.
Well, and I think that goes to using your mindset techniques. Like, Todd Black journaled, like, non-stop at first. Like, he was just constantly, like, in his truck, black journaling about every fear. Sorry, my face is, like, cut off. If I go this way, my phone won't do it, so I'm, like, trying to squeeze in here. But that comes down to your tools. Like, are you utilizing the simple tools? People think it takes this miracle. Really, it only takes you and jumping on your action steps. Oh, thank you, Andrea. You're so nice. So let's go to, Crystal is just saying, I can't wait for this. Awesome. How do you handle when you don't have the same belief in a certain area or topic, but you still wanted to spend money or invest efforts in the thing for yourself or your kids. Example, your belief, like regular chiropractic care is important and helps, and your spouse thinks it's useless and a waste of money.
I would say find something that your spouse likes and kind of go that route with it. Like, hey, what do you like? You know, it's hard for me to understand these questions because I'm not like that. So I'm trying to give you my best answer, but I would say, okay, if Nicole came to me and said, I want to do chiropractic care, and I would be like, well, that's stupid. It doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, well, what's something that you like that we can get going for you, and then maybe we can get something for me, you know?
So I think what she's asking is, for instance, like, she wants her kids to have chiropractic care, and her husband thinks that it's stupid or something like that. So I remember when I first started learning cranial, it wasn't even energy work. It was cranial sacral, which is kind of energy, but not like as much energy as I do now. And he literally was going to leave me when we were dating. Like, he told me that I was like in this cult and learning witchcraft, and I was scaring him. And I don't even remember what made the shift, but I would honestly say it was probably just time. Yeah. Time of you not giving up. Like, I was like, well, I'm not giving up cranial. Like, I love this stuff. And sometimes you just have to be bold. And he would probably admit I'm probably a little more controlling, or not controlling, but tough love. Like, if and I used to not be this way, but I stand my ground. Like, if I really want something,
she'll get it.
I will get it. Like, there's no convincing me otherwise, because I'm strong in my belief, and I don't try to convince him. Obviously, if it takes money, I have to try to convince him. But I don't feel like we're to the point anymore. But I think it's harder for him to look back to where we were because he's a guy.
Yeah.
But we did get to that point sometime when it's like, he used to not agree with everything, you know, even to the fact of like vaccinating or not vaccinating our child. Oh, yeah. Or, you know, we have these different like things that it's like I said, like, I don't want to vaccinate, and it was really hard for him at first. And then you want to know what's funny? I said, fine, you can have a say, but you have to do the research and tell me why I shouldn't. It took 1 hour for him to be like, there's no way in hell we are doing that. You know, and everybody to each their own. Like, we don't care what other people do, but it's like, it's actually just saying, like, okay, this is my choice, and I will absolutely listen to your side, but you have to tell me, like, the reason why. You can't just say, oh, because I said so, or that's stupid. Like, you give me reasons why chiropractic care is bad for our child, and then I'll listen to you, but you have to do the research.
That's good, yeah.
So this is from Sammy. How do you deal with Nicole being so busy? I know she serves so many clients, and she's so dedicated, which is great for us, but I imagine less great for you. My husband has a hard time with my work pulling me away.
I have been dealing with this one a little bit lately, actually, Sam. I really have, and it's kind of been triggering me a little bit, but I'm pretty quick to notice it and just kind of meet her where she's at, because I know that she's doing it for all of us, I guess. So in that sense, it's like, I just tell her, you know, like, hey, you know, you're on your phone again, or this or that or the other, and, you know, we might get into a little tiff about it, but she's pretty good to meet me too and kind of be like, hey, you know, maybe I am, or, you know, maybe I need to give him a little bit of time. Guys are pretty easy. All we need is a little bit of touch, grab our butts. I mean, you know what I mean?
If their love language is touch.
Yeah, depending on your love language, but I think guys are pretty easy. Like, we're pretty easy to please. I am anyway, you know what I mean? You just give me a touch and show me that you still care about me a little bit, and I'm good with it. But in that sense, it's like, I know that she's so passionate about it, and I just let her have it. Like, it's like, you love this. You might love it more than me. Who knows? It's like, just do what you want to do. You know, I'm pretty laid back. I don't know. Do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I would just say, like, we just had this talk coming home from Idaho Falls.
Oh, yeah,
you know, we literally had this talk of, like, I feel like you're not giving me enough attention. And that's where it came back. I did a video the other day where I just had to say, okay, I don't really know what to say right now. Because the problem is we could get so triggered by that. And instead, I just needed time to process. And then I went and processed. And then I said, you know, you're right. I have, because it was at the weekend that I was so busy.
In that sense, though, I kind of turn into a baby when she's busy, as if she's leaving me behind. So I'll give her the benefit of the doubt on that one. It's like, when something's coming up and she is busy, I won't lie, I kind of turn into a little baby that wants to be held too. So, go ahead.
Well, and I wouldn't really say it's a baby. He thinks like it's been like that forever. It'll be one weekend, and then he'll be like, well, you're not giving me any attention. And because, let me tell you, when we're more busy, I get more snappy too. Like I get like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time to deal with this drama. Like I'm just dealing with so many problems right now, trying to get ready for an event. And so we have to understand that there's gonna be those times that it's like, but I think what it comes down to is he knows I'm going to be successful. He truly knows that, and he believes in me, and I believe in him. Like, he has to pick up and leave right after this, and typically he's home. And I could have easily been like, because I really deep down, I'm really sad, and I just want him home. But I know the bigger picture, and I know that he has to go, and he has to, you know, go serve other people and help other people as well. And so it's just that compromise of like, it might not be necessarily what we want, or I'm not getting all that attention. But like Dave Ramsey always says, live like no one now, you know, and
later you can live like no one else.
Live like no one else later. And so we know there's those times that we are going to get in those tiffs, and so we just work together. Let's see. Let's see if I missed any more. I'm going to scroll through these. If you guys have any other questions, this will go as long as you guys want or as short as you guys want, but I want to make sure that I didn't. Does Todd feel like you're always trying to analyze and trying to fix him? I'm assuming Jessica Lagore is always into a lot of my health stuff, so I'm assuming she's talking about food, which has kind of been one we've talked about a lot lately.
Yeah, I've gained a little bit of weight recently and haven't been doing as good as I should be doing, so she lets me know about it, but I wouldn't call it analyzing or fixing. Sometimes I take it that way. I see what you're saying, but at the end of the day, I know she loves me and just trying to help me. You know, I wouldn't want to put that on her.
Asks.
I do ask as well. I ask if, you know, I need a little help. So, in that sense, yeah, I don't feel like she's analyzing or fixing me. I kind of bring it up myself. So.
But
yeah.
sometimes it turns like that. You can
it
tell
does. I
he's
get
a little
defensive.
heavy.
Yeah, I get defensive sometimes and start getting a little pricky back. Like, hey, you know, mind your own business or whatever. You know, I'm human.
And I try to. Like, I try to respect how he feels. Like, obviously, we want our family to be healthy, and it's just like anything. Like, we really want, especially when we know too much, we want our family to be extremely healthy. And so I will, like, he'll ask me, and then I'll tell him, and then he doesn't like my answer. And so that's usually where it can start. And I have to learn when to shut up. Like, okay? He really doesn't want my answer.
Yeah.
I thought he did, but he really doesn't. And so I just have to be like, you're on your own journey. Like, you can do what you want. If you want my advice, then you can have my advice, because I'm pretty good and I'm pretty strict, but like he goes pretty like up and down. But he still eats super, super healthy, even when he's not eating healthy. Like, he takes all his food on the truck. He does, and that's all by choice. I'd say for him too, he would be more of the scarcity mode in our family, of where he probably just doesn't want to spend the money for food either.
Yeah, adds up.
Yeah, so let's see if there's any other questions. He is born to be on film, just like you. I know. He really has a great personality, huh? Your mom wants to know where you park your semi-truck.
Just down the road from my house here. I'm not telling you, you might go rob it.
Let's see. Henry's freaking out. Hi, Henry! Okay, well, I don't see any other questions. So if you guys have, let me make sure that there's any more posted on here. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to ask. But the biggest thing is I think a lot of people want to know too, more just on the perspective of like wives. What is something to, like, if they have a dream or they have something they want to go for, or if they have this mission and they just don't know how to get their husband on board, or say like they struggle with like money. I'm trying to think of a situation, so we'll do that. If they have a dream and their husband just isn't really on board, what's your suggestion?
Get him on board. Like, it's hard. I know it's hard to understand this, but if you have a dream, go for it. Leave him behind if you have to. That might be mean, but it's like, you gotta chase it. You gotta do what you gotta do. Talk to him the best you can. I mean, I don't know what to tell you on that. It's just like, if I had a dream and she was holding me back, I'd probably just go with my dream. I'm not even kidding you. That's where I'm at these days. Like, and it sounds horrible, and I know she wouldn't ever not let me go for what I'm going for. The thing is you've got to work with each other. She took me to that class. I hated it. The first day, I was like, you have got to be kidding me. I was like,
this guy's a cool.
I was like my friend Cody, like, seriously, what is this crap? And then it's like, after the second day, I was like, wow, this guy might know something. And the third day, we connected like we had never connected before. Like, it was like, just like, boom, holy crap.
Infatuation.
And it brought us back together, and something clicked in my head like, holy crap, there is light at the end of the tunnel here. Like, where we were before that to where we are after that, it's like, and we kept going. We kept working on each other. The thing about it is yeah, it's up and down, it's up and down. You've got to get on the same page. You got to be each other's cheerleaders. And I honestly do not understand why husbands and wives are not on the same page. I don't get it. You see it every day. One of them's dragging the other around, and they're just pissed off all the time. Like, why do you live your lives pissed off, people? Get after it. Go do something. Be happy. Like, we live in the greatest country on the planet. We aren't out hunting every day for our food. Like, we got everything we need right here. You just got to go after it and get what you want. Or if you don't do it, you're gonna die lonely and sad and poor. Like, seriously.
Well, and the thing is we always are, you know, a big believer in, like, every marriage really can be saved if they both are at it. But there's no reason for one person to be miserable either and settle. And we think that we have to change each other. And I think that is the biggest thing we know. Number one is we can catch when we're going into a cycle. We can catch when we start getting like brother and sister catty. And so we have to really watch ourselves and be like, okay, we're not going here. So, like, our cycles used to last weeks. Now it's like, I would say, less than hours.
I'm down to 5 minutes about. If something's bugging me, I am about down to 5 minutes to where I let it go. Like, it's gone. Like, something will eat me up for 5 minutes, and then I'm like, I'm done with that. It's over. I'll move on to the next thing. Literally, it used to take us months to get over stuff. Like, I would come home and wouldn't even talk to her. And now it's like, seriously.
Or we would be screaming at each other in front of our little baby.
Yep.
Literally screaming bloody murder at each other in front of our baby. And that's when it's like, we knew it was wrong and we felt guilty, but we didn't have the tools to fix it.
Right.
Which is why I'm telling you guys, they're simple tools. We don't do anything fancy. It's literally like vision boards, black journaling, like it's communication.
That's the biggest thing on the planet for a marriage is communication. Like, I tell her everything, she tells me everything. That's the way it should be. I mean, you have to have it. And trust is a huge one, too. You have to have it or else it's not going to work. You got to talk. You got to come home and talk to her. You got to, be nice to her, talk to her, ask her about her day. Like, it's just that easy. It really is. Text her, I shoot her songs once in a while when I'm thinking of her, things like that. I mean, we're not perfect. I still yell at her. She still yells at me. We're humans. We're not sitting here telling you that everything's perfect and we live in this, unicorn fantasy land. It's not true. But we can work every day to just keep making it better and better, or just keep getting by with the best we can. It's not.
Well, and I would say the biggest thing is speaking up. People don't speak up because they don't want the fight. They don't want the conflict. And I will tell you, we actually we don't go into big fights, but we almost bicker, like I said, like for those 5 minutes, because we speak up more. Like, I'll say, okay, that's bothering me, okay, or he'll say, like, what's your problem? You're being catty, or you're in a bad mood, or like. But we say it.
Yep.
Get it out. We say it. We talk about the negative things. We talk about how frustrating our day was, or how our children made us mad that day, or like we talk. We discuss about bad things. Like it's like we talk about. Todd hasn't been paid for 2 weeks now, and it's like. And it was really bothering him, and he was getting kind of snooty. And I was like, I don't know why you're mad, because the money's coming. It's out there, and we have all this money in savings. Like, but sometimes he still goes back to his old scarcity mode. And it's like, if he wouldn't say anything, what's going to happen is he's not going to talk about that he's stressed about money. It's going to build up, and then guess what? I get spewed on. Tab gets spewed on. I want to see. I saw some other questions. You sound like Seth Rogen.
I saw Steph. She takes everything way too personally, then everyone gets mad.
I always take things way too personally, then everyone gets mad.
I could see that with you, Steph.
I don't think so. I think the thing is like, it's a limited belief that you take things too personally. I would say that Todd's like, that's his sister, so he has a different perspective. I would say, is it that you take things personally, or is it that somebody tells you something and then maybe you don't speak from your heart and you react, and then maybe people think you're taking it too personally? But I don't think you can ever really take anything too personally, because it's your soul. And I tell Todd this all the time. You can't change the way I feel. Like, It might be petty to you, but it bothers me. Like, I always tell him, like, I have to have eye contact when you're talking to me. And he's still
I suck at it, but I'm
working on this one. And I have to always remind him. And we would get mad as women if they forget. Like, it's like they're really like training a dog. You know what I mean? Like, and he always forgets. So even just barely before we got on here, I was talking to him, just like explaining what I wanted done. And I was like, okay, I need your eye contact. Because that's how I know he's fully listening. And so it's okay to ask for what you need. And we actually got in a fight about that. You know, and he was like, I don't get it. I'm listening to you. Why do I have to? And I think the problem is guys try to understand why women need that. Just don't try to understand. Just do it. And women try to understand why they don't get that they just need to remember it. They tell them once and they should just remember it. No, you have to keep reminding them over and over and over and over. Do you and Nicole discuss early phase business ideas? How are you supportive and not ideal killers to each other?
I think that we give anything the benefit of the doubt. I don't care if you're picking up cans on the side of the road. If you're making money at it, that's freaking awesome. There's not a business idea that I won't look at and think, wow, that's stupid. Because that's not who I am. I've changed myself.
Go back to how you made, like, suggestions, though, on, like, how, so, like, say she's discussing with her husband something, and he's, like, a business idea killer.
Mm-hmm.
How can she kind of start to shift that necessarily, or like what advice do you have for her?
I think the biggest thing for me is when she comes in with something, it's like the passion that she puts behind it. It's like you can see in somebody a passion for something. For me, it's as silly as it sounds, it's big trucks. It's crazy. But if she comes to me with this just passion, just spewing from her, of I just want to do this, I feel like it's right, you can actually just feel like you need to do something. And I think that's the biggest thing, is approach it with just this passion of, man, I want to try this. I think this is going to be something that I could really get into and just try.
And I think that's a lot of it, too, is I really like that. Like, going through it with not trying to convince, but really just being yourself and being like, I know I need this. Like, and I say this all the time. I know that I just spent $800 speaking at an event, but I want to pay another $800 to speak at an event, and I probably won't make my investment back now, but I'll make it back later. Yeah. And by the way, I need you to be my pack horse and come do this, or this. And he's just kind of learned that it's like, I haven't failed him yet. And I think at the very beginning, it's scary for men because they're thinking, oh, maybe this is just another idea.
It's scary for men because we're the guys left to pick up the pieces if it doesn't work. You know what I mean? We're the guys that are like, all right, well, I guess I'll go to work and try to make that money back. That's kind of just how guys think. So,
yeah.
And I don't know. Go ahead.
No, that was good. That was perfect. God, Todd could do rants and go viral.
I could.
I could tell
you could get me going on rants. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, especially Jesus. He loves Jesus. Let's see. Jane, I used to scream and fight. Thank goodness we don't anymore. I cannot see that in you, Sammy. Who's the best communicator?
I don't know. What do you think? I think we both are pretty good at it.
I think he's the best to break the ice.
Mm-hmm. I won't hold nothing back. Like, if something's bugging me, I will call you out on it, and I don't care who in the hell you are. Like, I don't care who you are. If you do something to me, I'll call you on the phone and ask you about it. And it's the same with her. I will ask her.
Well, and I think, too, what I more meant, but is he's
sorry, guys.
No, that was perfect. But he's the first to say, like, I'm sorry. I need to work on that. But so I'd say he's probably the best communicator because I need that validation and I want him to talk to me first. And I get in this little bit of a grudge. So I'd say he's probably the best communicator. I would say I'm the best listener. Would that be fair? Like, I'd say I'm the best listener, but he's the best communicator when it comes to breaking the ice, like making a conversation start and making a conversation kind of finish. And I would say, I feel like my face is cut off. And I feel like I'm the best at, like, solutions, I would say, because that's my job, and listening. Like, I'm really good at just listening to him and not holding my bubble and not getting, and that took me a long time because I used to get so triggered. I would say he still works on getting triggered a little bit, and I'm pretty good at, like, holding the line and being like, I don't know what to say about that, even though inside I want to rip your face off. I love that you are independently united. So So with you each having your own businesses, how do you find time to connect, and what are some simple ways you do connect?
We just went through this one too, actually. I don't. Go ahead.
I don't. Oh, do you want me to answer? I think they want your answer.
Oh.
So.
Okay. Let's see. Anytime I'm home, I want to connect. I walk through the door and I want to connect. I mean, even if the kids are around, we connect. We sit on the couch, we connect. Anything that we're doing, we try to connect. In the car, we try to connect. It's something as little as holding hands. Seriously. Hold your hand while you're driving in the car. Talk. I mean, anything can be a connection. Holding hands is a big one. I put my hand on her leg, just let her know I'm here. Anything like that. Anytime you're together, you can connect. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It's just hold her knee, hold her hand, run your fingers through her hair, anything like that. Just talk to her, look at her in the eyes. I mean, I'm learning that one. But just women need communication, and that's kind of where I'm learning.
Well, and what I love too is I actually think since starting our businesses, we actually connect. I wouldn't say more often because we're separated a lot more, but I would say even with our kids, I feel like he's such a better dad because he actually has to miss us. Mm-hmm. And I think because we have that missing, and like we come together and we want to connect, but it is as simple as like we don't get to go on dates.
No.
Like we don't get to really go on dates. We don't really do these extravagant things, which that's kind of what I love. I would love to connect that way. So sometimes my connection isn't as fulfilled as much. So I always have to communicate that. But we're really good at just literally like touching each other. That's one thing we learned in our seminar is touch, talk, connection. If you can even just touch while you're talking,
we're connecting right now.
It makes us feel each other, and it gets us actually like I don't know what you call it, but scientifically it gets your heartbeats on the same path, and you actually get synchronized energetically. And so he doesn't care about that stuff, but for you women, that matters.
Touch, talk, connection.
Touch, talk, connection. Because that's all it takes, really.
Even if you're in a fight and you guys are mad and hell at each other, you can touch and talk and just bring yourselves back together.
And what we used to do is literally just turn on music and dance in the kitchen. So we turn on country music, and we need to get back to that actually. Yeah. But just every night before bed, 2 minutes, we just danced before we went to bed.
And these are things that we've learned along the way, and we just use them, and they work.
Yep. Us too. We were told once it's like letting the steam out of a kettle instead of letting it boil over. Exactly. I like the way you think. Todd, what convinced you to start journaling and doing the vision board?
Results. That's the biggest thing ever. What convinced me the first was this crazy guy once told me in this seminar to try vision boards and blah, 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 and this whole attraction, law of attraction, it'll come to you. That's what started it. I saw this guy's results from what he did. He had a binder full of stuff that he had acquired, and that's what convinced me to try it, and it works. I'm not even kidding you guys. Like, I can think of stuff and make it happen. It's the craziest thing ever.
And when you stop.
Yeah, when I stop, it's bad. Like, I'm like, what the hell's going on? But it's like, it works. It might not work. It might not come to you the way you think it's supposed to, but you have to keep your eyes open and just look for all the signs.
And I think that's the biggest thing is we put it out there and we think it's going to come to us right in front of our face. I will tell you, it's usually a person or an opportunity that comes your way that's very scary, like $90,000 you have to go spend to make it happen. But, you know, is it worth making 20 to 30 grand a month? Absolutely. You know what I mean? And so it's like, what I think is, you can't get caught up in the way or the path because it's so zigzag and the opposition is unreal. Like, it is not stress-free being a business owner or doing vision boards or creating things. But the problem is people put a vision board on their wall and they believe in like the whole manifesting and everything just comes to them, which it does. But it doesn't just come to you with a genie in a bottle. It comes to you with opportunities, and you have to move forward with that opportunity. But people think, well, it's not worth this sacrifice or that sacrifice, and so they don't do it because they're scared. And I will tell you, if you can't do a vision board on a small level, you cannot. And that's the thing is people take vision boards and try to put these big, huge things. It took me 2 years to get Hawaii off my vision board. And so if you can start small and start building up that accomplishment energy, you're going to be able to work a vision board a lot quicker because you can start to actually believe and see it happening. because it's going to take a long time to make, live in a castle as well as it is to like create $100 in your life or something like that.
Let's get to our journaling really quick. Just real quick. The journaling worked really good for me while I was in Nevada. I was on the truck. And homeless basically. Nikki was here for a while. But I would journal every night before I went to bed. I would write everything down, and it would clear my mind. Like, I would just always have, like, really good days. Obviously, there was days where it sucked. But you take being away from your family, you're by yourself. Bless Cody and Whitney. I hope you're still watching. You guys are awesome. You freaking took awesome care of me. But it's like, when you're journaling, you get all this junk out of your head, and you just start clear every day. It's the coolest thing ever. You gotta clear it out, or else, like we said, it just boils up and it comes out, and everybody around you gets the brunt of it.
And I think the happiest time he ever was probably when he was homeless. It was scary. Like, there was many times, I'm sure he won't care if I share this, like, we would go visit and we'd leave and he'd just be in tears, bawling, and like be like, I have to go find a church. Like, I have to go find something to like fill my. It was hard.
I would go to church in downtown Las Vegas, off the strip, like ghetto churches, just to go to church. Like, I needed something. It was crazy.
Yeah. And by the way, we were never churchgoers ever. That's a whole nother story.
That's a whole other rant.
It's a whole nother rant. And don't get him going on that one, because that one might not be very. Having been married to a truck.
I think she meant truck driver.
Oh, truck driver for 30 years. Do you spend time stewing about problems while you're alone on the road, and how do you deal with it when you get home? That's a great question.
Yep, that is a great question, and I do stew about things. I think it's normal for any man to stew. If you're not stewing, you're not processing what's going on around you. But like I said before, I'm really quick to let stuff go, and I don't know where I acquired this, whether it was from a seminar or something, but it's literally, I can stew about something for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and it's gone. Like, I'm over it. I'll move on. And you can bring it back to me if it's with a person or whatever, and I'll still just be like, look, I'm done with it. I've already worked through it. I've made up my mind about this, and that's it. Some stuff, I don't think I really bring anything home.
No, he really doesn't. And I think it did come from that, like, learning how to release the junk onto paper, just training yourself, because eventually the more you do it, then eventually your subconscious is just so used to, like, okay, I know this is a lie, or this is opposition, or this isn't really truth. Like, you're used to that feeling because it's usually the same feelings, like, I don't have enough money, or I'm mad at my wife, or this or that. It's like the same feelings. And so you start to learn, nope, I feel this isn't truth, and I'm going to let it go.
Yeah, and I'm not going to die.
And he's not going to, he says that one a lot. We're not going to die. We might live in a box, but we're not going to die. My husband is always telling me to value my time, and I always feel like, if my idea won't make $100K for a steer, he doesn't go for it. That's actually a really good one, because that's where persistence and consistency comes into play. And you can answer this one too, but I really like this one because I think especially women starting out a business, it took me a long time to start making money. But the thing is the reason women... what happens is they don't make money, and then they start listening to their spouse or people around them, and then they quit, versus just being laser focused and just believing in your dream. But you can.
I don't like the money thing. I've let that go too. It's just money. I know it's hard for a lot of people to grasp it, but you really have to work at it like we have. You've got to train yourself. I don't care if you make $5 on the first day. That's better than nothing. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. That's not the point. You have to be passionate about what you're doing. It's about the passion, not the money, in my opinion.
Yeah, I love that answer a lot better than mine, actually.
That's where I'm at with that.
My phone died, so I don't know if you covered this or not, but do you have any super strong convictions, religious or otherwise, that are different and conflicting?
I'll answer this. Even if they were different or conflicting, we would find a way to deal with it. Religious-wise, just throwing it out there, if she was an atheist and I was obviously a believer in Jesus, I would keep trying, every day to get her over to me. It's the same with anything, you know what I mean? If she had something going on, and I don't know, what do you have for that?
Not necessarily like convert or get me over, but just live in your own. I'm trying to think what we have differences on, because there's got to be something.
Seatbelt in the car. Like, obviously, I'll let it ding a few times, and she says, put your seatbelt on, and I'm fine with, like, fine. I don't know. That's stupid.
Yeah,
I guess.
I can't think of what we really put. There was a time that we did have this difference, like when we first actually started out on our religious pathway, and not to get too religious on
Let's
people.
not go that route. Let's go with your business, because at first I was like energy stuff. You know, we can go back to that too. Like at first she was doing this energy stuff, and I was like, I'm not getting into that. That's not who I am. That's not how I was raised. That's unbelievable. You know, you just don't do it.
But I kept going with it.
And I didn't have a choice at that point.
Do you want to know what happened? The day my child was crying, sick in the hospital, and doctors couldn't figure out what was going on, he said, I don't care what you do, go use your voodoo stuff, but I'm not taking him back to another doctor. And so that's why I'm saying, if you can just plant those seeds.
That's what it is, plant the seeds.
And just keep following with what you believe and respecting the other person. So the problem is like when we... I can't really think of an answer, so we'll have to come back to that one, because I can't really think what we have super conflicting things on.
I don't either.
I can't really think of that right now, but I'm sure there has been something along the way, so I'm going to have to think about that one. We used to fight for hours. We are totally different people these days. Awesome. Good answer. So yeah, I wish I could answer that question, because I know there's got to be something that we could totally disagree on, but... sometimes parenting style, which Sammy would be a good one, but we're actually, okay, this is actually a really good one. So we kind of disagree on parenting style, and I've been taking Samantha's parenting classes.
I have not.
He has not, but he's aware of it, and I educate him on it, and he really feels like, no, I wouldn't feel like we disagree with food.
Not really, no.
So what happened is I'm really believing, like, we shouldn't, like, scream at our child all day long, like, and he, like, has this, like...
I have, like, this guy energy, like, this dad guy, get in the car now, I'm not going to tell you again.
Like, you should listen to me
right
now, I'm the boss, and then Tav's like, no, I'm the boss. So I'd say as far as parenting goes, but I think he's pretty aware that it's not...
I am very aware, and I feel bad a lot of times for things that I do. I do, because it's just like... I could handle it a little bit better.
But for the longest time, he didn't agree. Like, and I had to let it go, and I had to be like, okay, well, here's my boundary, though. You're not going to do it in front of me. You're not going to scream it in front of me. Like, you do what you're going to do. And I had to set my boundaries. And now he's starting to come along, but he's still fighting his soul and his body. So, when does Todd Henry mentoring start for husbands? I tell him that all the time. I tell him he should make, like, a trucker live stream. And like just mentor his little thoughts, because he has really great thoughts, but he doesn't have a passion to be a mentor, and it makes me really sad. I guess we have conflicting thoughts about that. Raising kids, politics. We don't care about politics really. He kind of gets into it because he's on the truck. Raising kids, we talked about that one. How to treat each other's families. We're usually pretty much on the same board, just because we feel like we should. I don't know. We just treat everybody with respect, and we have our own beliefs, and if people don't like them, then we're on the same page that we have each other's backs. But I don't feel like we really disrespect people.
I sometimes can get pretty nasty, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. He can yell at people, but if it's something he's really passionate about, like that he really believes in. How to deal with family issues or individual problems, people in extended family. Holiday traditions.
No.
Nah, we just kind of wing it. We don't really have too many traditions.
No, we
go to the pumpkin walk. We always talk about having family traditions. Like, we always just know that we go to his family's Christmas Eve party. We just have a system, and we just do the same thing every year. And here's the thing, is with dealing with family, I think is a great one to address, is finding what works for you two. The problem is you sometimes worry about what your family's going to think. And I would say not worrying about that. Like my family, my parents are divorced, and we would have Thanksgiving at my house, and I'd say, I don't care who hates who. I don't care if like his family hates my family. Everybody is welcome. And it's at our house. This is what we're doing. We're not splitting up 10 different Thanksgivings. Like, I don't have time for that. And I'd say just being the example in your family, that it's like, we don't really deal with conflict. We love everybody. You're more than welcome to show up, or you don't have to show up at all. So we just kind of deal with family with what we want to do.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to go back to this again, you guys. Life is too short to get caught up in this crap, like this earthly junk. Like, just go make yourself happy. I know it sounds easier said than done, but it's not that hard. Find something that you love and go do it. Quit worrying about all the crap around you.
Okay, my husband struggles with that and has recognized that it is an epigen. I don't know what topic she was talking about. You're welcome to join us, Todd. Upbringing makes it hard. It's not a guy's energy so much as she's talking about her class. So she's talking about it probably comes from upbringing. Like your dad was probably a little more tough love. I think most dads that age were. It's not a guy energy so much as old stories and rebel nature. He is a rebel, you guys. We've dictated that tendency. I'd say, what time is it? Sorry, I know you got to go, dear. So I just want to see.
Good.
8. Oh, okay. I'd say Todd's my mentor because he's the one I can call when I need someone with solid head.
Amen.
Yeah, Kay is his twin sister. He has a twin sister, and they have a really great bond.
Mm-hmm.
And he loves protecting his little sis.
She's my big sis. Yeah.
Oh, big sis. What are your guys' love language? His is physical touch.
Yep.
Mine is not.
Communication.
And mine is quality time. Communication, quality conversation. This one we've actually, I'd say in the past year, had to really deal with. So if we really want to get into this, he's very physical touch. He loves to be touched. And we have this rule of, okay, you love me in my love language. And we had to make this deal. And he's like, okay, well, I want you to touch me and give me physical touch. Not necessarily even sex, but like give me physical touch. And I had to say, well, that's fine, but every time I touch you, you love me back in your physical language, and I don't want to be groped. And so we had to really work on this one, too. So it's funny because this is how he trained himself. Like, I would touch him or rub his shoulder, and he'd be like, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, what do you want to talk about?
What do you want to talk about? I feel like I'm taking over the conversation.
That's
Sorry.
okay.
But so literally, that's how he had to train himself. It's like I'd be touching him, and he'd just be like,
what do you want to talk about?
And so that's how he's been raised. He still does it, actually. That's how he retrains his brain to not go to, like, my love language. And I was actually talking to a guy today that called me for some relationship advice, and he said the same thing. He's like, we're just missing intimacy. We're missing intimacy. And I said, okay, well, how are you filling your spouse's cup up? You know, like, you can't expect, I always tell him, you can't expect me to go from 0 to 90 in, like, 60 seconds like he can. And it's like, I literally need this, like, this period to essentially, not in a sexual way, but we could use this term, be turned on. Like, I need this period because I'm over-touched all day long. I don't want to be touched. And so I always just tell people, or we always just tell each other, like, and we're still working on it because we want to love people in our love language.
Mm-hmm.
No comment?
No, I think you did good there.
Okay. I don't see any other questions. So if I don't see anything else pop up, we will get off. I hope if you guys enjoyed this, please give us some love. Show us that this was worth your time.
Yeah, I'm not doing it again.
I was just going to say, if you want him to do it again, really show him some love. And
I wanted to get into something really quick before we go. It's about a happiness thing between a husband and a wife. I can make her happy, but it's not my job to make her happy. Like, it is, but it isn't. I can't make her happy. She can't make me happy. I make myself happy. She makes herself happy. Together, we're happy. A lot of couples go through this, and they're like, I just can't make you happy. Let's get divorced, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, that's not the secret. The secret is, like, you have to make yourself happy. Do what you want to do. Do what you like. If you have somebody holding you back, bust away from it and go make yourself happy. That's the bottom. That's the secret to living, people. Make yourself happy.
Well, and I don't think he means necessarily bust away and get divorced either. Like, what I'm saying, or what I think he's saying, is what I love is we hold the line for our own personal truth. Like, we know what we believe. We know what we want. We don't let anybody stop us, not even him. Like, I know, like, when he's having a fit and, like, about events and this or that, I'm like, too bad. I'm going to be doing events. I'm going. Like, this is my passion. This is my dream. And I think what happens is you have to realize that as you up level, and maybe your spouse isn't learning about all this stuff, don't try to be his mentor.
Right.
Number one, I learned that really
I don't want to hear it from her.
Don't try to be his mentor. I found him people he could listen to. Who are people you love listening to?
I've been on a religious kick lately, but I do a lot of stuff like podcasts and stuff like that. I don't know.
Even Tony Robbins, Gary Vee.
I do stuff like that.
Joel Osteen.
Yep.
He likes listening to religious stuff, but he just, like, I had to fill his mind. Even Kirk Duncan CDs is where you started. I had to find a mentor for him or people for him to follow because I was trying to mentor him. And when I finally let go,
oh my gosh.
Like, literally, even say with diet, like, for 2 years, I was doing full gaps and then intro, and he's sitting there eating donuts and cereal, and I just wanted to, like, murder him because I'm, like, craving that stuff. And we'd always get in this fight over it. And finally, I was like, you know what? Fine. If you want to be unhealthy, that's on you. Whatever. And it was really funny because then he actually came to me and was like, I want to do intro. Yeah. Like, not even full gaps. Like, I want to do intro. And he did the whole intro. And, like I said, I've had to be okay with his ups and downs. And, like, he still drinks coffee. I don't drink coffee. Like,
well, you have to be okay. Sorry to butt in. But you have to be okay with each other's ups and downs or it's not going to work because we all have them. It's life.
And I'm an upholder. And he's a rebel. And so it's like, as an upholder, I can commit and follow through. He does not like commitments, and he does not like being told what to do at all. If I was to tell him, you have to get on this live stream and do it, there's no way. Like, I have to learn how to talk to a rebel. Like, hey, like, these women really want you to get on and do this. And if there's a reason, and if it's benefiting someone, I know that he's going to hop on, even though he doesn't want to, and he's probably sweating to death in this light. Like, I know that it's like, but he knows if it's saving someone's, like, soul or, like, you want to say something like that?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
But, like, I know that if it's, like, if it's something that's passionate for him or if it's helping someone, he always says, I don't care what anybody, he always says this all the time, I don't care if you told me not to help somebody that was, like, dying on the street, I would stop and do it. Oh, yeah. I'm going to put somebody's life and somebody's soul before anybody else because that's what's most important. I don't care if, go ahead, you can talk while I catch up.
I don't have nothing on. I put people first. I think there's a lot of value in people, and I think it's a lost thing these days. It's crazy. The world's crazy, and I think a lot of it is a heart issue. It's in everybody's heart, and you just got to figure it out, guys. You got to figure out what you want to be. You got to figure out what you want to do and how to get it. All the resources are there. It's crazy how much you can do.
Well, and what's your belief on mentors?
I think they're amazing. I think mentors are amazing. They're people that have walked the path that you want to walk, and they have found all the shortcuts and how to get there quicker and how to get you there. Like.
And how have you felt on how much money I have spent on mentors?
I have struggled with it a little bit, but I will tell you that I'm not mad about it. I think it's been money well spent. I mean, look at her. She's great. She's killing it.
And you feel like we get our investment back when we paid $2,000 for a Tony Robbins front row seat?
Oh, yeah. Even if we didn't get our investment back, the stuff that I learned there will carry on forever. Like, I can still go back and think of a few things that, that I have learned there. And
it's like college.
It's not the money. It's the experience here on earth. It's like, how can you impact someone else? You know what I mean? How can you impact somebody and just make a difference? It's not a money game. But I will tell you, my goal is to be a millionaire. Like, that's my goal. Honestly, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but one day I hope to do it. You know what I mean?
And it's not for the money.
And it's not for the money. It's for experiences. It's for travel. It's for I want to go and just do things. It's not just to have. It's so I can go do things.
And we give most of our money away.
We do. Yeah.
It's almost a problem. Yeah. We need a giving fund because we just love helping that waitress and giving her $100 tip or whatever it may be. Like,
we are givers.
Yeah, we are. Who's your favorite mentor you listen to right now?
I don't know.
Even religious, it doesn't matter.
I'm not going to go there with people. I've been listening to Les Brown lately. He's pretty awesome. I listened to the guys that started in a freaking at the bottom. I listened to guys that came from rags to riches, and Les Brown was one of those guys. He was like sleeping in his office, like just, you know what I mean? Right now I've been on to Les Brown, and I'm just into these guys that made it from nothing.
Like Jesse James. He loves Jesse James.
I do love Jesse James, the motorcycle builder. Like, that guy builds everything with his hands. It's amazing. It's amazing. I love old craftsmen like that. It's a dying art, and you're never going to find it again.
Oh, your grandpa has been a pretty good mentor.
Grandpa's been awesome. I've learned a lot from Grandpa. He's great.
And that's the thing too, is knowing who your biggest supporters are and not listening to the people that don't care. Like knowing where you're going, and we'll kind of end with this, but knowing where you're going and how scary it is going to be to get there, because change is so scary. Like even right now, like we've downgraded to a townhouse. We sold our house. We sold everything. Like, because we know where we're headed, and it is totally paid off. But not right now, because we own our own business and make triple what we did before. We can't buy a house that's cheaper than what, $130. Like,
Yeah.
So we're stuck in a townhouse until we have a business. It's just so much harder to get things when you're a business owner. And so what's funny is like, I just really want you to know that it's going to be scary to get there. And yes, your spouse might not be on the same page, but like Todd said, it's not your job to convince him. It's not your job, even though we can see so much light in them and they want to lift. He still doesn't move as fast as I think he could.
No,
I tell him right now, go buy another truck, go do this, go do that. And he's like, I'm not ready. And I have to respect that. Like, he's taking things tortoise style in my eyes. But to him, he's like, you're going way too fast. Like, something's got to go wrong. And so it's like just respecting each other. But most importantly, you can only change you. But I promise you, if you change you, they will either naturally drift their own way, or they have to uplift.
Yeah,
but you have to hold the line, and you have to be okay with the fights and the chaos and talking about hard things. Like, it took us many nights bawling, staying up till midnight, talking about divorce, or should we stay together? What should we do? Like, but we've always known that we've been 100% committed, that was never an option. And so it's like, it's just being okay with conflict, being okay with that stuff. I just hopped on, but you guys are glow together.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Love it. Her husband just started a business too. I told you about him, the truck driver and the construction and stuff. But anyways, we're going to get off because he's got to go drive for a whole nother forever and get to where he's got to go. But we love you guys. You guys are awesome.
Yep.
Anything
Love you guys.
else?
This has been great. Hope to see you again.
He's never gonna do it again.
I'll do it again. If you guys want to hear from me, I'll do it again, because I am passionate about helping people and getting their asses in gear.
And seriously, I convince him he should be a mentor for husbands, because I think he'd be good. I told him the other day, I was like, you should start an accountability call with just husbands, and then you can help these, But he knows that if a man's not ready, a man's not ready. And when they're ready, they'll choose to step up and they'll choose to make it happen. So, love you guys. You guys are awesome. And have a great night.
Yeah. Peace out.